Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about combinations. So let's go and get started with an example. If you remember from the last video of permutations, I started off with a box where I had a few letters in here. I think that was letter A, B, C, D, E. I'm just going to stop with F. I think I might have had 7 letters, but anyway. So I have 6 letters. Now, like permutation, combination is very similar in the sense of since I have 6 letters, N is going to equal 6. And before I go any further, I got to change this A. It's going to look weird. It's going to bug me the rest of the video if I don't do that. All right, so we have A. All right. Now, let's say if I was to go into the box and choose 2 letters, again, meaning if I chose A and if I chose B. Now, just like permutation, if I chose an A and a B, that would be one particular outcome. I can choose A or B. Now, this is where combination and permutation is different. But what if I went in and then I chose a B and then an A? Well, under permutation, both of these would count because although you're using the same letters, they are different orders, so technically you'd count both of them. So under a permutation, these two would count. But under a combination, the repeater would not. So under a combination, if you get A and B first, under a combination, BA is the same exact thing, and this would actually cancel out, meaning this has already been chosen. So, so when you're dealing with combinations, the order is not important. So let's go into the definition here. So for a combination, the order is not important. So like for example, AB is the same as BA, or red blue is the same as blue red. So the order is not, it doesn't matter who was chosen first. It doesn't matter, like going back to this AB, it doesn't matter that A is chosen first, B is chosen second. AB has both been chosen, so BA will be chosen. All right, let's look at this example here. Now, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You have 20 two-letter combinations or pairs. Now, if you notice, some of the groups have been crossed out because of the fact that we're dealing with duplicates. Notice here, AB, which is right here, and they crossed out BA because the letters are being used. AC is right here, but they crossed out CA because, once again, order's not important. That's a repeater. AD is right here, but up underneath it, DA has been eliminated because of the fact that you can't have repeaters. So if you notice, all the repeaters are being crossed out. So what happens is the possible the possible combinations are going to be far less than your possible permutations. Okay, so using this as an example here, 1, 2, 3, we have 10 possible combinations. We had 20 permutations when the order was important, but when the order is not important, it reduces down to 10. Okay? Now, if you notice, once again, you have these letters A, B, C, D, and E. You had a total of 5, so using that same kind of permutation theme, N is going to equal 5. All right? So let's go into the formula of combinations. So here we have N factorial over R factorial n minus r factorial. Now, if you remember a permutation is this, n factorial over n minus r factorial. So the only thing we're doing different with a combination is we are just putting an r factorial in the denominator. Okay? Something you need to make sure you remember. All right? Let's do an example. The number of combination, 5 objects taken 2 at a time. So this 5 represents the total number, which means this is what n is. So n is the total number of objects, which is 5, and it's in here. I'm just highlighting right here. N objects. 2 at a time represents r. That represents like how many objects you're taking at a time. the stipulation, whatever you want to call it. So it's going to be 5 factorial over 2 factorial, 5 minus 2 factorial. All right. Now my next step would be 5 factorial over 2 factorial, and I'm kind of going slow with this because this is our first one. 3 factorial. 5 minus 2, 3 factorial. Now my next step, I'm just going to go ahead and write it up under here. 5 factorial is 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Remember, we're multiplying all this. Okay. All over 2 times 1, that's 2 factorial, and then times 3, 2, and 1, which is the 3 factorial. All right, so let's go ahead and cancel out what we have duplicates of. So 3, 2, 1 is on top, 3, 2, 1 is on bottom. That can get canceled out because remember we're dividing. So 5 times 4 is 20 over 2 times 1 is 2, which means the combination is 10. There's my answer. All right, moving on. You order a pizza at a restaurant, you can choose 3 toppings from a list of 12. Well, the possible number is 12, so that means n will equal 12. You have 3 toppings, that's what you're looking for, so that's what your r is going to be. So using your formula of n factorial over r factorial n minus r, solve using these numbers. So 12 factorial over 3 factorial, 12 minus 3. And so my next step will be 12 factorial. And of course, this next step here, you could probably edit out as you get more comfortable with it. 9 factorial. Now what I'm going to do, rather than going 12, 9, 8, what I'm just going to do, I'm going to say 12 times 10 times 9, and I'm just going to like skip all the way to 1. And the reason I'm skipping from 9 all the way to 1 is because of the 9 factorial that's on the bottom. Because the 9 factorial on the bottom is 9 all the way to 1, and I know that's going to cancel out. So, I mean, that's just kind of like my cheater way of doing things. And so I'm going to cancel out the 9 to the 1, 9 to the 1. So 12 times 10, I believe that's 120 off the top of my head. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. 3, 2, 1, 6. My answer is going to be 20, I believe. There you go. All right, the last example, and then we're going to call it a day, and that is this question here. Now, students might have questions. Well, how do you know if you're doing combination or permutation formula? Well, more than likely it's going to tell you. Okay. So count the combinations of 2 letters, there's my R, and the list of these right here, A, B, C, D, E, F. Now, what's the difference between the last question here and this question here is they're not telling you how many total letters you're dealing with. Well, that's simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6. So N is equal to 6. R is going to equal to 2. So I'm going to go ahead and pause, or you pause the video, and you work through this question. All right, so pausing in 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're back, and so here's my work here. So I went ahead and skipped that middle step that I told you to skip. So 6 minus 2, that's 4 factorial, and this is my work right there. I went ahead and just went to that step here, crossed out everything I needed. Now, of course, you might ask, do you have to cross out? You don't have to, but you're going to be dealing with big numbers and you'll end up dividing by it anyway. So you might as well just keep the math simple a little bit. But 30 over 2, my answer is 15. So if you learned something, if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you for watching.